Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Bachelorette post-show live stream with me, Bachelor Fantake. How's everyone doing tonight? So we are at hometowns and moving on to the final three. What's the deal with the men tell-all? Is there going to be one? What's going on with that? Usually, I don't know. We'll talk about that tonight. We'll get into everything that went down, into the new preview, into whether or not there's a men tell-all as we go along. But before we do that, of course, gotta go over the chat rules. Number one, please, no posting any spoilers. Of course, sleuthing is welcome, and anything that's been sleuthed out is encouraged. We're gonna do some live sleuthing tonight. Number two, I'll try to respond to as many questions as I can, but super chats will get priority. And last but not least, be kind to each other, everyone. So, yes, we saw a pretty smooth Hometowns episode. About as smooth as it gets for a hometown. With Charity's season here. And, pretty easy going all around. The only kind of speed bump was Joey's uncle. Joey's uncle, who brought some doubts into the mix. And that seems to be a long-lasting effect as it's going to go into the Fiji time too, apparently, according to the preview at least. I mean, as far as how everything went with Aaron being the one to go at the end of the night, I wasn't too surprised about all of that. Here's how I viewed things from each of the hometowns. Number one, she seemed really not into Aaron. Well, I mean, compared to everyone else, right off the bat. Kept saying stuff like we're just not there, we're not at the same level, and nothing amazing from the hometown changed any of that. Even though he dropped the falling in love stuff at the end there, she's just way more into the other guys. We had Joey's date, which she just seemed, out of everyone, the most enthusiastic, in my opinion, about Joey and meeting Joey's family. I think, Xavier, there were some doubts, obviously, going into it, because apparently he reminds her of one of her exes, but that was an amazing hometown that he had. I don't see quite the doubts that Charity does, even though he's mentioned he's not quite ready for, or the idea of commitment is scary, or in the last couple of episodes. And then Dotun at the end seems like the safe route, the safe pick. He's front runner and probably the safest option for her on paper. That's how I saw it. I really, really, really felt like going into Joey's date, she was so, I don't know, enthusiastic about it. So when it came to the ending, where it was just either Aaron or Joey, I wasn't too surprised. Plus the sleuthing kind of has always predicted that Aaron's time to go was going to be this episode. Will this be the end of Aaron? That's going to be a big thing coming up too, and we'll talk about that as we get into the preview. And AJ, thank you so much for the super chat. Good to see you in the chat again. In the preview, Charity said that the person who shows up isn't supposed to be there, so I think it's Aaron. Do you think that Joey is being himself? I don't see what his uncle was talking about. Yeah, so this person, this is from the previews, this person showing up, he's not supposed to be there. I think the most logical conclusion is that it's Aaron. Especially now. Like the way they're presenting it in the previews now, it's not something that they're showing after the final three. It's not like Xavier, for example, being eliminated at the final 3 point and coming back at the final 2 saying I'm not leaving, I want to propose or whatever. It's the shock and surprise, especially with them being in Fiji and him having to be flown out to Fiji for it to happen. that makes the most sense to me, that Aaron would be this mystery man coming back. Like and I know a few people in the comment section from the preview breakdowns that I've done have said stuff like, well, what if it was someone like Charity's brother? It's it's theoretically possible that Charity could be shocked. What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here, for whatever reason. For someone like her brother showing up, and but some of the reactions here, and especially after seeing it in this preview, there's no way. It has to be someone like Aaron. And it would be really, really lame of them to hype this up and then it be someone like her brother, It's like, oh, well, that was BS. I know they've pulled stunts like that, kind of, in the past, where they've disappointed, hyped things up in the preview, but I don't think that's going to be the case. As for Joey, do I think that... So, one of the big parts of this episode included Joey and his uncle, and Joey saying on this tennis date, I don't feel like you're yourself, or you're trying to be someone who Charity likes or who Charity might want to see, and I mean I don't know. I don't know Joey in real life, so I mean Joey seems like pretty genuine. He doesn't seem like he's being a real fake guy, But it's, I mean, who am I to say? And it was only Joey's uncle who said that. Joey's other family members didn't seem to express that. So I don't know. I still think Joey's. To me, Dotton's still a front runner. Still going to be the pick at this point. But she's certainly, this episode especially, I felt I saw like extra excitement in Charity when talking about Joey, and maybe Joey's like the more, sometimes we see the safe pick versus the maybe not as safe, but there's like some kind of extra spark there pick, and maybe Joey's that. But I still think at this point Joey's, if it's going to be someone from this season, Joey's the front runner for Bachelor, in my opinion. But and Elliot, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really appreciate that. Currently still watching, yay West Coast. But I love your live streams and wanted to be a part of it. Well, glad you're here. I'll avoid listening, but might post live thoughts. Okay, there you go. Elliot's gonna post his live thoughts, and sorry if you're not listening, but hearing this, and thank you for the super chat. And Robbie J, thank you as well for the super chat and the support. Really, really appreciate that. Dotton's hometown had me to tears. Also, do you think they'll bring anyone from the Bachelor in Paradise cast to the finale like I think they did last year? Maybe. Yeah, P.S. I've had I'm just Sean stuck in my head all week. Sorry for that. Yeah, I mean, it's very, I guess that's very possible. I don't know what they're going to do, though, for this finale, or is there going to be a men tell-all? We don't know. They haven't promoted it. Maybe there's not. I know that the end of the season is supposed to be the week of let me see what my calendar here. I'd heard that the 21st is going to be the finale, so that's 3 weeks, which means they could easily do a men tell-all. They could do a men tell-all next week, then the week after that, the final 3, then the week after that the finale. But I don't know what their plan is as of now. They're someone's saying it's the 14th, so they're going to do the tell-all after Fantasy Suites. That's I'm trying to, like, there have been so many seasons now where they've switched things up. Is that something they've done before, after? I mean, without it being, I guess maybe, I don't know. I always feel like it's after the final 4 that they do it, or they do something like they do it together. they'll do the fantasy suites and the tell all, or I don't know. Anyways, so I guess it makes sense. 3 more weeks, 3 more episodes, fantasy suites, tell all, and finale. So there you go. Looks like the men tell all is happening, and it's already filmed and on its way. So I mean, maybe at the finale they'll bring in some Paradise people to try and hype that up. I imagine probably it would make sense, because usually at the finale for the Bachelorette, there's a preview for Bachelor in Paradise. So we'll see who's showing up, what past contestants are gonna be on the beach, and what contestants maybe from this season are heading to Paradise. It can only be so many people. I don't think we're gonna be. Well, I guess I don't know. They had a final three. They had a final three guy from the Bachelorette last season. So I guess it could be some of the men, Aaron or whoever's eliminated next. Which I think I have an idea who's next. If I had to choose of the three, who I'm leaning towards, but I think any of the final three you could make a decent argument for being the final pick this time around. But I think I've got an idea on who I would order it, on how I would order it. And Ryan McCarville, thank you so much for the super chat and the support. Really, really appreciate it. Imagine Aaron taking a 24-hour plane ride just to go get broken up with again. Sheesh. Happy Monday, everyone. Yeah, maybe, but production, they're gonna try to ramp up that last minute drama, so I wouldn't be surprised. It has to be something like that. It would really be a bummer if it was like one of her family members, like her brother or something, which I don't think it is. No offense to her brother, but I don't know. These legs look a little. Maybe I just have Aaron in my mind, so it's like these legs look kind of a little too muscular. But that I don't know. That's what makes sense to me. Or if they're like hyping up something that happens after Fantasy Suites. But with Fantasy Suites, the big sort of other question mark is this moment, and they definitely threw us a fake out, making us think it was Joey. This moment where she's saying like we're a week away from proposal, and you're dropping this, which is like doubts, cold feet. Originally I thought a week away seems like it's the last week, it's the final two, but especially with a shortened season like we have, a week away is easily just Fantasy Suites. So I think just right before Hometowns, they had said it was 3 weeks away to the end. So, now we have Hometowns, getting to Fiji and all that. A week away could easily be after a Fantasy Suite day. I don't know why I keep saying Hometown. But we know this person, as we've sleuthed out before, with the sweater you can see there, and this from the season preview. We know that it's Xavier. Xavier's the man who's going to be expressing cold feet. We've already kind of seen this storyline set up already. Him talking about his doubts, cold feet, committing, it being scary. But at the end of the day, we know Charity will make it to the end. Will it be with Xavier? Originally I thought final two, if Xavier is in the final two, a week away from an engagement, and Charity does have a final rose ceremony where she breaks up with someone, meaning there has to be 2 people left at that point, that Xavier will make it to the final rose ceremony. But with the idea that now maybe a week away isn't the final two, it's the final three. Xavier could be the one getting eliminated. And Nolene, thank you for the super chat. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Maybe it's her cheating ex. They did that with Becca. Yeah, that would be, and now that would be something. That would be pretty wild. If they were able to contact her cheating ex and fly them to Fiji for this, that would be brutal. Wouldn't put it past them. But yeah, that would be brutal. No, I think most likely it's still Aaron. I guess that's possible, but whoo, that would be really something else. Yeah, and someone's saying, is the final two breakup done before the engagement? Imagine that being on the same day. It is. The final two breakup is on the same day. It's just the breakup is always first. And I know, like, way back when, there were times where they tried to mess with the order of things because it became obvious. When the first person came out of the limo, that was the person being broken up with. I think there are seasons way in the early, the dark days, the days that we don't really, we don't have access to the seasons, the super early seasons, where they switched it or messed with that. And honestly, I only even know kind of or about this because my mom watched all those seasons, and I feel like she had said stuff about that. But then it just became a thing that no, the first person out of the limo on the final two breakup day is the one getting dumped. And there have been I don't know what the word is, reports or whatever, word from people who've made it to the final two saying they knew they were getting broken up with on that day based on the scheduling. Based on, it's too early in the day. I'm getting my, meeting with the lead is, in the early afternoon. I know what's about to happen. And them being, resigned to it. And, I mean, we sort and in some ways, we kind of saw that with Zach's season with Gabby. She, knew. I think it was more nuanced with Gabby than just that scheduling, but we've seen that before. So, yeah, it will be the same day, but, no, the engagement will be the last thing that happens. So, there you have it. Yeah, I remember one season where the winner went first. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Now it's always first person out. You see them, and it's ooh, that's not them. So. Her ex was white. I don't know if that's the same one. Yeah, someone's saying she said her ex had a problem with knowing how to deal with an interracial relationship. Yeah, and but she's also said she never met a white family. Well, yeah, maybe she never met that person's family. Maybe she has met some families of exes, but the person who had a problem with interracial, relationships is not a person whose family she met. But why don't we now, speaking of all this Fiji stuff and fantasy suites, let's take a look at the preview. Who's going home next? Well, let's look at this preview, and I'll tell you who I believe is the next person going. We are getting into territory where it's there's no more definitive proof. The only definitive proof we could have at this point of who's in the final 2 and who's not is if we saw 2 dates for 2 different people. Because at this point there are only 2 more one-on-one dates left for any person. A fantasy suite and the final 2 episode. So if we saw like Xavier and Dotun on 2 different dates wearing 2 different outfits, then we could go, okay, there's definitive proof that Joey's going home. But we don't have that this time around. I think we have had before, or we've been close, where there's been stuff like that. I think maybe on Michelle's season we had like definitive proof with different bathing suits on her final 2 men, but not this time around. But I have who I think is going home next already in my mind, and we'll get into that. So let's take a look at this preview. See what's in store for us. Cool. Alrighty.
I cannot believe that I will be getting engaged in Fiji. The purpose of this overnight is to help me decipher who is it that I'm going to choose to be my husband.
It's scary how easy it is to say that I'm genuinely in love with you, Charity.
Okay, so Dotun's dropping the full-blown L word next week. So he's not messing around. Not after his parents have met her. Not after that hometown date. So Dotun's I think he's going to be making it into the final 2. I think he's the, like, in Charity's mind, this is the pick I'm supposed to make, but is it the one she's going to? And each season, depending on the lead, we see it flip-flop. There's usually a person that, at least from my perspective, watching, that seems like this is the person I should pick on paper, the safer choice, and a person who is just, I don't know, maybe there's some more, like, I don't know, excitement. Sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's just a wild spark or whatever, but they don't seem like the person who's ready or to be their like partner or I don't know how to describe it. Maybe just like it's a risk choosing this person. I think maybe Dotun's that safe option. I think sometimes it's right to pick the safe option too. I think on Tayshia's season, for example, she had a couple of options, and maybe with Brendan or whatever from that season, it was there was like a physical chemistry or an excitement there, but Zach was she needed someone she needed to feel safe in that way, and that was the better pick for her, even though we often equate like the safe choice with maybe not always being, well, that's not the right choice, like just because it's the safe choice. Sometimes the safe choice is the right choice for a person. Sometimes it isn't. But I think Dotun's that kind of option for Charity, and she's going to take him to the final 2, especially after this.
Charity.
I am in a state of love.
Queen Charity!
I'm floating, like actually levitating.
I'm falling in love with Charity, and I'm ready to get down on one knee.
I am 100% like in love with you.
And it's an interesting thing. So this date here, in the past, in the previews, they've aligned this with Dotun, and it's definitely not there's Xavier's date. They try a fake out with this outfit later, trying to connect something she does in this outfit with Joey, but it would make sense to me that she's saying I'm full blown falling in love with you, or what does she say here? Let me
100% like in love with
in
you.
love. It would make sense that that's with Dotton. But yeah, taking a look at Xavier's date, and Joey's on one too. This waterfall date we've seen before in the previews. But let's
in love
continue.
with you. So upset.
This
Here
idea
she's
of this
upset
fairy
in
tale
that
that we're
outfit.
experiencing gave me some concern.
Can you be
It's
someone?
definitely post fantasy suite. We always see this shot, the
Fairy
kind of
tale.
morning after outfit, and then walking away. But yeah, this outfit here, same as here with Xavier. We've seen all this from the previews before.
Experiencing gave me some concern.
Can you be someone that will show up for me at the end of this?
In my mind, there is that doubt.
Joey's uncle told me maybe Joey wasn't being his full self.
It can be tough to be in a relationship with me.
So yeah, there's the fake out. They have Joey here, then Charity reacting, and we're gonna see her in the
His
full-blown
full self.
In a relationship with me.
We're like
upset
a
moment.
week out from proposal. Like, what's the next surprise?
But we know that it's actually right here with Xavier. So, but here's this surprise.
I can't
man
believe my
showing up.
eyes because he's not supposed to be here. I'm shaking. This is insane. What are we gonna do? This is not a drill.
They don't show us who it is though. But I believe it to be Aaron at this moment. I think the most likely candidate is Aaron. But as for who goes home, I at this point, based off of watching the show, that sounds like an ex. Well, Aaron would be her ex. But I mean, the producers absolutely could pull her cheating ex or something like that out of a hat for drama, but I don't know. It seems like a lot. You'd have to have, them reach out to this ex, or I don't know. Maybe this ex found out they're the Bachelorette and wants to. That would have to be another thing. The ex would have to want to come to Fiji to try and win Charity back or something. It all seems like a lot. There would need to be some incentive for this ex to want to come to Fiji, be on a TV show, be villainized, and be thrown out and agree to all this. But I mean, maybe. I still think Aaron's the more likely candidate. And as for who goes home next, well, maybe come the preview breakdown released in a couple of days, I'll have some more, I'll look through this stuff and try to pinpoint, maybe there's something that can prove one person makes it further along than another. Maybe there's a couple of secret shots here that are actually from 2 dates or something like that. But my gut is leaning towards Xavier going. That this, all this business here, we're a week out from proposals and you're still not sure, mixed with her already having this idea in her mind about Xavier. She said it before many times, that he's like her ex, that she has vibes that are that's like her ex with Xavier. That and then again on top of Joey, I feel like the reaction that I saw this episode It just really stuck with me how Charity was acting, you know, leading up to Joey's date, and all that business before her, you know, his uncle stuff. She was just so excited. Like, I felt like she was envisioning beyond hometowns with him. I think Joey gets a rose over Xavier because of all that. And Dotun is just Dotun. He's to me, he's a final, like, he's the easiest pick of the three to make it to the final two, in my opinion. And I still think if I had to choose now who Charity is going to pick, it would be Dotun. But, you know, we'll see. There have been many times in the past where someone, you know, expresses all these things, doubts, and the lead just, you know, just keeps them along and it just wants to pick them and ends up picking them. And Xavier could be that. But I don't know. I just feel like Xavier's not, at this point, a front runner. And usually when we see someone, you know, expressing these doubts and then being the pick, throughout the season they're sort of edited as the front runner, and the kind of drama of it all is, well, you know, this person may be the front runner, but look at all this drama, all these doubts that are in here. Is that going to scare the lead away from picking them? Even though they've been the front runner this whole time. And I don't know if Xavier's had that edit. I'm not getting the same vibes. I'm getting Dotun is the front runner, and then, you know, but then at the same time it's like, well, like, it just seems a little too easy to pick Dotun too. So, you know, that's the kind of that's the wrestling match going on in my mind. So, I mean, you know, if your vibe is telling you another thing, I'd say just follow that vibe, because at the end of the day, we don't have a 100% pick, but I think it's leaning Dotun and Xavier going next. So that's my opinion, based off of not just what the previews say, but what we've seen in the last few episodes. But things, you know, all it takes is one more episode, and things can change. And for all we know at this point, maybe even Joey was, you know, heading into hometowns, Charity's feeling this could be the person that I want to pick, and then they have this, you know, situation where Joey's uncle's saying, is this the real Joey? She obviously is thinking about it going into fantasy suites. Maybe that has pulled her away from Joey. And now kind of, you know, everything's changed. Could something like that happen in fantasy suites where, you know, Xavier swap somehow after this discussion, because, you know, we see like Charity upset, but who's to say that there's not something that happens after? And they reconcile. But isn't there also, I believe I saw here, I'm trying to find her here. It looks, so this as well is rather suspicious. Oh, I skipped ahead. Let me see if I can
week out
find it again.
Proposal? Like, what's the next step?
Okay, so she's got her heading into the back of this SUV, and then she's also closing the SUV. Like, if I can get it on the actual there. See, this seems, we can't say this as definitive proof, but this seems like her sending Xavier home maybe at the end of their date. I mean, we do see eventually
You're
her
like
in
a
the
week
back
out
of an
from
SUV, so
proposal?
it's like it could also just be, you know, them going back to their hotel rooms before the end of an episode. But I mean, there's some evidence, so we have to weigh that too. It's theoretically possible that whatever this little moment here is her sending Xavier off. We know this is what she's wearing on their date. So that's where I'm leaning. And SHM Design, good to see you. Another name I recognize. Appreciate the super chat. Haven't watched, just watch your videos instead. Is it a good season so far? Hope you're doing well. Well, I'd say it's a very smooth season. There's not a lot of drama. If drama is something you're after, at least up to this point, there's not really a lot of drama. There's some... I really liked a couple of characters in the beginning that were cut early. Spencer was an enigma, and there was a man named Braden who really shook up the season, but he was gone early. But I guess this is a shorter season. I think it's a pretty good one. I'm hopeful for for an interesting end, and I think I was thinking about Charity as a lead earlier, and I was going there. She hasn't really made any typical lead like fumbles. You know, like certain traps that leads fall into that get contestants really angry or just seem kind of can be like a little not the best for people's feelings all the time. I don't think I can't think of like she's yeah, like she's not really like upset the group, you know, like some other leads have in the past or whatever has happened. I mean, I feel like there have been a number of canceled like cocktail parties this season, or cut short cocktail parties this season, but I don't know. She seemed to have done a good job thwarting that so far, but there's still a lot of season to go, so I don't I can't give you a full-blown answer to that quite yet. This ending could really change things up. I remember Zach's season was mostly like that too. Pretty smooth. Zach cut off, at least in the first like third of the season, was very smooth. And then once it got to Fantasy Suites, it was like wildly dramatic. Like it was not dramatic at all through like hometowns, and then it was wildly dramatic at the end. So there's a lot that could still happen. But I think like as far as this season goes, one good thing about it, I actually like that they had a little bit less men. My problem though is they had less men and a shorter season. So I feel like having less men could give an opportunity for us to get to know the men more, or to feel like, to not go through a season and feel like, I've never seen this person before, and we're like almost at hometowns, which seems to happen every season. Like, I don't know who this guy is, or girl, or whatever. And it's like this many episodes in, having a shorter season, like Tanner this season, didn't really show up in terms of, you know, screen time until right before hometowns. having a shorter amount of men, or less amount of, like, less contestants, can give you an opportunity to, like, give a little more screen time, a little more variety in there to the other men. But then we were an episode short, so all that opportunity was kind of gone. But, you know, they've got to fit in Paradise and the Golden Bachelor, which is going to be filming soon. I saw he had an ad on during this episode that says he's going to have 20 women for his season of the Golden Bachelor, which I think is going to be shorter as well. It's going to be, 20 women, hour-long episodes, and probably airing right after Bachelor in Paradise. Filming soon. So it's on at 10 p.m. currently. That's the current, we'll see what, I guess maybe, I don't know, what's airing instead. Dancing with the Stars or something, is that coming back to ABC primetime? And so it's only going to be an hour long, but I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be fun. So I'm shocked that there are people here that don't think it's an obvious Dalton win, just like KDB was the clear winner last season. See, my only issue with that, I agree with you that Dalton is the seems like the clear front runner. It just seems a little too easy. And there are times in the past where the kind of obvious pick has been sort of like an editing fake out a little bit. And it's like, why is this so obvious? Are they trying to like lead us off into another direction? But and Beatrice Hernandez, good to see you. Really, really, really appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. This is one of the least interesting seasons, isn't it? Remember the season with COVID? That was much more juice, and I don't think it's necessarily the drama or lack thereof. It's more about how the relationships develop. Well, I definitely, agree with some of that. As for like least interesting season, yeah, I think there are some. I don't know if it's the shortness of it. There is something a little bit. I don't know. It's not. There's not been a lot of drama this season. But certainly there is I don't know, it's gone very smooth and easy, and I think Charity's done a good job, and I think it's a good season. But yeah, I don't know if it's a great season. Certainly, like the hometown's very sweet and easy. But I think, I don't know, I feel like the less episode, I don't know, is costing this season. Because I feel attached to a few people, but I will say definitely this season, while it seems like a good group of men, there are only a few that I've felt attached to. And I think that's because of the shorter episodes. And so, ultimately, when I try to analyze a season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette, to me the most important thing comes down to investment. And how invested we are in the journey of the lead and the journey of the contestants. And if, sometimes maybe you can have one of those things or the other. but the best seasons have both. Where you are rooting for multiple contestants, where when one contestant goes home, even though you maybe know that they're probably the best choice to go home that week, you're sad because you liked that person and you wanted to see them find love. You know, those seasons, which are getting rarer nowadays, that's what makes a truly great season. Where you have a mix of stupid drama, contestants, you know, you care about, and a lead that you actually want to see find love and find the right partner. And if you're missing, you know, that investment with most of the men because we're not getting to know them or things aren't being focused on properly, then, you know, it's harder to care when they get eliminated. Or when, maybe they're going to get eliminated. And you kind of lose the audience. And I think I agree that there's been less men who have had that investment with this season. But it's also because I found myself, I know some people say, well, it's only one. There's only one episode less than last season for this season. Well, but that's a big deal. And it's 2 episodes less than seasons like, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 episodes less than Hannah Brown's season, which I think many people consider a very good season of The Bachelorette. One of the better ones. It's either 2 complete episodes behind or 3, but it's been trending down, and not just by 1 episode, a couple or more in a while. So, and VNet, thank you so much for the super chat. Let me know if you meant to write down a message. Feel free to type it out in the chat before we go. Oh, I tried to super chat and failed. I just think so much Braden, who I love, took away the focus from everybody, even Charity. Yes, and that's an interesting thing too. Like, I think the Braden drama was very interesting, and I like, you know, one of the more interesting parts of the season. I think the drama was like kind of catty and fun there, and stupid, which is the best kind of drama. But it did steal focus, not just in terms of time on the show, like airtime that made it to like the final cut, but took focus away from other men too, and so we didn't see what their personalities were because they were just too focused on Braden. But I think there's one thing I will say before we end the stream, is that I do think in some ways this season got shortchanged. Like where's the travel in this season? Where, like, they only, you know, I mean, nothing against the places that they went to, but there's always this like fantastical, like, European or exotic location that they go to. Didn't happen. One less episode. Maybe for scheduling reasons, maybe for budgetary reasons. Things got a bit shortchanged, which has not helped that aspect of the season. But overall, I mean, I don't think I think Charity's done a good job. I think overall the men, it was like a good cast of men. So it's like I can't find myself disliking this season or anything. You know what I mean? And it's not over yet. There's still more to come. So, hold on to your hats, folks. So, that's going to be it for our live stream tonight. Thank you so much to everyone who's super chatted, commented, whatever, lurked, watched. If you're watching after the fact, if you're watching the VOD later, thanks for tuning in. Recap for Hometowns is going to be out tomorrow, followed by a preview breakdown, and we're on to Fantasy Suites in Fiji. And then nearly the end of this season. And after that, a lot more content following. We've got seasons of like The Ultimatum, seasons of Love is Blind, Bachelor in Paradise, The Golden Bachelor, tons of stuff coming our way. Then The Bachelor after that. So, a lot to talk about, a lot to see on the channel, a lot of content on the way. So, until then, until next time, have a good night, everyone. Bachelor Fan Take out.